what I think happens, to your point, is we can get stuck in this, what I'm doing doesn't seem to be working, so I think it's time for me to change what I'm doing, when in reality, the right amount of time just hasn't passed yet.
Journaling, one habit of journaling takes care of all your contemplation, all your self-reflection, all your inner work. Like, there's so much that can transform in your whole life from one simple thing that you do consistently.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another episode of Next Level University, where we help you level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed yesterday's episode number 1667, one of the quotes that changed my life the most. Very deep episode, felt very hyper-conscious. Today, for episode number 1668, One Way We Overcomplicate Things. You and I have both been coaching you've been coaching longer than I would say, but I don't know, since maybe 2019, I think I've been coaching. So coming up on 5 years.
Nice.
One of the things I've really tried to settle into, and if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm going to adjust my camera at some point because it's syncing. But one of the things I've settled into, Alan, is when people come to me and ask certain questions, like, what do I do with this? What do I do with this? What do I do with this? What should I be doing that I'm not? Oftentimes, the answer I give is, it's not about you doing something that you don't know. It's about doing something that you know but you're not doing.
Yeah, definitely.
That's
almost always the case.
It almost is always the case.
Yeah.
It's almost always the case. So this is the thought for today's episode. If we were to keep success, quote unquote, in anything, I'm not saying overall success, just in anything, to the simplest form humanly possible. And let's just say we could make it this simple. I know it's not, but let's just say we could make it this simple. This is what it would be. It would be go out and implement / practice all of the awareness you have on the thing. So let's just say, what would be a good example? Let's do the dog shelter thing. I've been using the dog shelter as an example of a dream since the beginning. So, okay, I want to start a dog shelter. I love dogs, all animals. It'll be an animal shelter. I love animals. I feel so bad that they get mistreated, and it's a real shame that people take them in when they can't support them, and I don't want to see them on the streets. Awesome. Love that. Okay, we got a why. Awesome. All right, what do you know about dog shelters? Well, I've been to some, and I know a couple of people that have run them. All right, cool. Give me a list of like what you really know. Like, what do you understand about it? All right, cool. Do you know how challenging it might be to get going? Do you know what legalities, permits, all that type of stuff? No, I don't. Okay. All right, let's go there. Let's get to the place where we have completely exhausted all the stuff that you already know. Let's implement as much of that as possible, and then let's go seek new awareness. Then when we get new awareness, we take that new awareness, and then we implement it again. And if you think of the gym as a good analogy, because we often use the gym, just exercise and fitness is a good analogy for life. When you go to the gym, you don't have that much awareness. You know, this machine seems to do this. This machine seems to do this. All right, cool. Let me just jump on these machines and see what happens. Let me implement with the current awareness I have. Oh, when I use this handle, it feels different. When I use this weight, it's too heavy. This weight is too light. Okay, cool. Now we're getting more awareness. And with that awareness, you can implement differently. And if you just rinse and repeat that process forever, you can get really, really good at stuff. I have been exercising since I was 16, and I am 34, so that's 18 years. I'm still learning new stuff in the gym. I'm still testing out different machines and saying, oh, I've never experienced that. I had a really good back day today. Back has always been a challenge for me. It was never my strong suit in terms of muscles. It was really, I couldn't even feel my back when I was exercising. I've only started that in the last year. I really feel my back workouts.
What was the problem?
I think I was probably overcomplicating things. I was probably trying to do things. I was probably going out and trying to seek, okay, what about this exercise? What about this exercise? What about this exercise? When I never, for lack of better phrasing, mastered the basics. of making sure when you do a certain motion, the right muscles are engaged. I would say it was that. I went back to basics and started doing things really, really simply. Said, all right, what do I actually know? Like, what actually works? Okay, this movement does. All right, what if I practice that more? And then I just try to
first principles thinking.
Yeah, science. Is it science?
First principles thinking is you go back to the very basic components.
Is that what's that from? What science realm is that from? Just science in general?
No, just science in general. Yeah. So science is, what is science? The study of the universe, I guess, is what you would call science. And then there's all the different types of sciences. There's
big fan of science.
Physics, study of the physical universe.
I'm gonna adjust my camera here. I don't want to distract you.
No worries. Biology, study of living things. Chemistry, study of matter. Physiology, study of the human body. Kinesiology, study of the human body in motion. Neuroscience, study of the human brain. Psychology, study of the human mind. So science, all the different sciences are just the study of. Mathematics, I think, is study of the universe. But anyways, so first principles thinking is go back to exactly what it sounds. Go back to the very basics. Very, very basics. And honestly, to your point about coaching, Kev, even right now, Kevin is going back to basics, getting back in the camera frame.
Look at how low my camera is now. I'm gonna have to do it in between, but it's it's a whole thing. I'm gonna make it work. We're good.
We're going back to the fundamentals here in podcasting. We're gonna be in the frame. We're gonna talk into the microphones.
That I know works. Move closer. There you go.
I was on a session recently, Emilia, myself, and one of my clients. One of my clients runs a health-conscious pet store. And we picked her brain on, I literally went into the call as a scientist, and I said this. I'm weird, so I'm just owning that. I go into the call, I say, we're two scientists. We both have our notebooks out. We're ready to rock. We have Tucker, Tilly, Tao. We have 2 cats and a dog. You are the expert. We are the students. We are here with our notebooks out, and normally it's the other way around because normally I'm her coach. If Emilia and I, wanted Tucker, Tilly, and Tao to live the longest, healthiest lives possible, to maximize the probability of living the healthiest, longest lives possible, boom, what would we do? What are the 3 most important things? And then she broke it down to the 3. I'll never forget it. She said, number 1 is nutrition. Number 2 is vet care, and number 3 is exercise. And then I said, okay, what's the most important 3 things of each of those? So for nutrition, boom, boom, boom. Vet care, boom, boom, boom. Exercise, boom, boom, boom. Awesome. Now I have the 9 things that matter most. Go to work. I looked up last night. So Tucker's a Palmerian Chihuahua. And this is an analogy for your own life. Whatever outcome you want in your own life, you can literally do this. Knowledge is powerful if you implement it. I looked up so he's a Pomeranian Chihuahua. He's Pomchi. I think he's more Chihuahua than Pomeranian, but Pomchi sounds cooler, so we just say Pomchi. He's a little floof. That's what we call him, a little floof. Pomeranian, the average life expectancy is anywhere between 10 and 16, statistically speaking. Chihuahua is anywhere between, I think, 12 and 18. So Chihuahuas tend to live longer than Pomeranians. I asked Emilia last night, and again, Emilia and I are very interesting humans. Last night we were walking him, and we've been walking him constantly ever since this call, because exercise is critical for longevity, not only for humans but for animals as well. And so I said to Emilia, I said, "What's the goal? What are we shooting for?" And she said 30. And I said, "Sweetheart, I've done the research. I don't know if I think my brain's going to call BS on that. I don't know if there's ever been a documented Pomchi who lived to 30 years old. But I'm not going to lessen you. Let's just pick something. Let's drive to 5. Let's pick something we both believe in. Because I would have trouble believing that." She said, "Okay, let's go for 25. I said, "Okay, I think that's possible. I don't think it's probable, but I think it's possible." I said, "How old's Tucker now?" 7 years old. "Okay, he's a little 7-year-old. He's very, very, very healthy. We've taken unbelievably good care of him, and we're going to continue to do so." So what's my point? First principles. Instead of overcomplicating it, okay, my client who's been doing, shout out to Christy, who's been doing cats and dogs is her specialty. She's been doing this for a decade. When I got on that call, I was like, give me the cheat codes. What are the things that matter most that I can implement? That's what I think is valuable about coaching. Hire a coach that has done it. So Kev, you've started a successful podcast, multiple successful podcasts. Okay, if I'm brand new and I'm humble enough to hire a coach, I say, "Kev, Boom. Notebooks out. What are the things I need to do consistently to maximize the probability that I have a successful, positively impactful podcast? And then you just boom, 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 boom. You break it down. And I can do that with relationships because we've been doing relationship coaching for 3.5 years now. Just go to the people who have the knowledge, ask for the cheat codes, and then write them down and study them and then implement them. And most importantly, implement them, because you're going to learn a lot more through experience than you are through theory. You need to learn the theory first in order to get started, but you don't need that much theory to get started.
No. I think there's too much out there.
Agreed.
I know knowledge is powerful and it's important, and I think it's important for it to be easily accessible and all that. But there's just too much of it where you don't know where to start. It's like, well, this happens all the time. Someone will come to me and say, like, well, I know if I want to have a podcast, I should have a website and this and this and this. It's like, no, in the beginning, you don't need any of that. We don't have a website in the beginning.
What are the 3 things? Let's do it.
That you need in the beginning?
Yeah.
In an ideal world, you'd have the podcast. You'd have some sort of social media channel. And then...
let's go even more basic, right? You need a microphone.
Oh, yeah. No, realistically, no. You don't even need a microphone anymore. You don't need anything. You literally need your cell phone, and you can use... There's a bunch of apps that are, if not free, close to free, where you could literally just voice record an episode into it and then post it from there. It's the easiest it's ever been to start a podcast. It's so easy.
Okay, so what are the 3 things to grow a podcast? And again, we're not talking about podcasting. This is what we're talking about is implementation, starting small, getting the cheat codes, and then it's like a pyramid. I'll go quick with this, Kev.
The old pyramid.
I always think of oxygen, water, food. I always ask my clients this, and I know they probably get annoyed with me, so if you're out there listening, I apologize. But at the end of the day, it's so important to understand hierarchical thinking. So what matters more, oxygen, water, or food?
Oxygen.
Okay, oxygen is the bottom of the pyramid. What's next, water or food?
Water.
Okay, and then what's after that?
Food.
Okay, so imagine a pyramid with oxygen at the bottom, water in the second one, and then food. Now here's the thing. You need all 3. You will die eventually without all 3. But you're going to die quicker without oxygen than you are without water. You're going to die quicker without water than you are without food. Everything in life is like that. So podcasting, same deal. Okay, start a podcast. That's number 1. Okay, how do you do that? Boom, boom, boom. Okay, be consistent. That's number 2. How do you do that? Boom, boom, boom. Okay, packaging and production value. Intro, outro, midtro. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, that's why books are so valuable. That's why this podcast is valuable. That's why knowledge is so valuable, because the people that have done it know how to do it. That's why you take a course on karate or on martial arts, or on karate's a martial art, but you know what I'm saying. You take a film course. You go to college, you take a film course. They just give you all the answers that took them decades to learn. And then you just start small. Maybe you do a short film, 10 minutes. Then you eventually do a little bit of a longer film, 22 minutes. Then eventually you do a feature film, hour and 10 minutes, short feature film. Then eventually you do a blockbuster movie. It's like 2 hours and 20 minutes. These directors, there's a really famous movie right now called Dune, and this trilogy is crushing it. Dune Part 1, Part 2 are both out. Part 2 is coming out streaming soon. Huge fan. And Part 3 is in production right now. These actors, these actresses, these DPs, director of photography, gaffers, there's a whole bunch of terms in film, directors, all that. They get paid a lot of money, but they didn't start there. There was a client of mine who wanted to be a director, and I said his hero was Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan is one of the most successful directors in history. He did the Batman movies, all that stuff. I said, you don't want to compare to Christopher Nolan. What you want to do is start making a film now. Just make a home film. Make like a crappy... But here's the problem, Kev. No one wants to be embarrassed as a beginner. That's the problem.
For sure. Evan Carmichael, I was looking at scrolling when he went to the bathroom. I was making sure my messages were all read and batched. And one of the things he posted was, one of the things I see most successful people have in common is they expect to suck in the beginning. And that's his thing. Evan's thing is, you're going to suck.
Everybody sucks at first.
Everybody sucks at first. Everybody sucks at first.
How do we overcome that?
I think expect it and don't attach your self-worth to your, and again, this is a fine line, right? We talked about this recently. Don't attach your self-worth to your short-term success.
How did you get through sucking at first?
I don't know if I thought I sucked. Transparently, I don't know if I was always so afraid of being bad that I would prep a lot. But I don't think I was really afraid of sucking because I didn't think I did. And here's the other thing too. The more reps you get in, the easier it is to say, that one wasn't great, but we'll get on to the next one. It's almost like you should always have your next performance lined up when you're doing the current one. That way you don't do it or not do it depending on how it went.
Nice.
It's like, why don't a lot of relationships, I won't say relationships, but why don't a lot of relationships blossom from people meeting? Because the first date sucks. And if the first date doesn't go well, you're not going to have a second date. You're not going to have a third date and a fourth date and a fifth date and all that. But imagine if you went in, and I don't suggest doing this, I think this is probably dangerous, but if you went in and said, no matter what happens on this first date, I'm going to have a second date with this person. I'm willing to bet that the likelihood of success in that relationship would probably be higher.
Yeah. I would say the likelihood of getting into a relationship would be high.
Yeah.
Whether
I
or
would
not
say
it's
overall,
successful. Yeah.
Overall success.
Maybe not the best metaphor.
Well, all I'm saying by that is I think that for a lot of us, it's like, well, if this podcast goes really well, I'll do the next one.
But
it's like, well,
the thing. The
it's not going to go well.
Are so off. Yeah.
Yeah.
What does going well even mean?
Book the second one before you do the first one. And then when you do the second one, book the third one before you do the second one. If your next performance is dependent on how your previous performance goes, at least in terms of you showing up, it's a very dangerous game to be in, because it's either going to go better than you expect or it's going to go worse than you expect, most likely. We found that for me at least, it always kind of went better than expected. But if it didn't, I'll tell this story. One of the second speech I ever gave, shout out to Michael Gorman and the Movement family. Alan and I were brought in to talk to Michael Gorman's group of individuals who, most of them were kids at the time. There was a younger demographic, but they were growing up in a rough part of the state, and they had a lot of stuff to overcome. And we went in and we said, all right, we want to motivate, we want to inspire. Awesome. I went in with 5 flashcards and an ego. And I ran through my 5 flashcards in like 10 minutes, and I think I had at least 30 minutes to fill. And by the end, I had kids doing push-ups, and one of the kids wanted to be a speaker, and I was like, all right, say something into the mic. And it was brutal.
Give my speech for me.
Yeah, give my speech for me. If that was my first speech ever, I don't know if I would have wanted to do a second speech. But that was luckily my second speech. And the first one went really well. So I was surprised that it didn't go well. And then you and I watched the footage back, and it was like, all right, it's not as bad as I thought it was. And honestly, I had a little ego. I thought it was going to be easy. I didn't think I needed to prep as much as I did for the first one. All right, cool. Lesson learned. But if I just said this didn't go well, the next one's not going to go well, I probably wouldn't be a speaker. That I can say with confidence. Anything you want to say back, or?
I'm forgetting what the original point of the episode was.
This one is, please hold. I gotta look. One way we overcomplicate things. Keep it simple.
Oh,
Awareness
yeah.
implementation.
Hello, NLU listener. Thank you, as always, for listening to Next Level University. Real quick, I just want to jump in and let you know about the Next Level Dreamliner. This is a journal that I use every single day. Achieve your dreams 90 days at a time. It breaks down your dreams into goals, milestones, and daily habits. We hope you enjoy it. The link will be in the show notes. When you complexify... When things are too complex, you get overwhelmed and you don't do anything. I am so guilty of that. Okay, I'll give you an example. 2023, couldn't do mobility, struggle bus, just did it for a week, fell off, did it for another week, fell off, did it for 3 days, fell off, couldn't be consistent. Luckily, 2024, I've done mobility 10 minutes a day, every day for all of 2024, which is a big deal for me. Okay, go Alan. My point is, last night, late night, had a great Sunday with Emilia. It's 9:30 at night. We just get back from the walk with Tucker. We actually went on a hike and then to the track, which was nice. I still have 4 more on my big 5 to thrive to do. So every day, I've talked about this, I know. Okay, so write every day, 20 minutes. WhatsApp every day, 20 minutes. Sales every day, 20 minutes. Mobility, 10 minutes. Exercise, 30 minutes. So at this point, it's 9 o'clock at night, 9:30 at night, and I've only done one of my big 5 to thrive. So I'm sitting there going, oh no, this is going to suck. I jump on the yoga mat, and I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm not learning new stretches.
Yeah.
I just defaulted back to the regular old simple fundamentals. I foam rolled my back, I foam rolled my legs, I foam rolled my lower back, and then I did some fairly decent stretching. Like, I default to my regular, simple, basic routine. Now, when I have extra time or extra energy in the tank, I'll actually improve and work on it and be more focused. But I always revert to the fundamentals whenever I'm low on energy. Like, I wasn't feeling well last week. I got, like, the sniffles again. And I would just default. Dude, I've been writing every day for 20 minutes for all of 2024. Some of my writing is garbage.
I believe most of it probably is. Not against you.
Whoa.
But well, think of it. Some days you're just trying to get through, and it's not going to be...
Yeah.
You're not going to write a award-winning song every time you sit down and write a song.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I don't have the energy or I'm not feeling well or I'm tired or it's the end of the day or whatever, tonight will be most likely one of those dates, I'll just edit. Instead of writing, I'll just reread and edit the old stuff. And not by the old stuff, but like whatever that... I'm trying to do a blog every month. And so I'm behind. I actually have to publish Marches today or tomorrow. I'm actually almost done, which is good. But if I set the timer for 20 minutes, and sometimes I just edit. I just go back over my old stuff, and then I'll write a sentence here, I'll edit that. The point is simple fundamentals. Okay, what matters in writing? You want to write a book? What are the 3 most important things to writing a book? Number 1, write every day. Not 3 hours a day. Just write a little bit a day. Okay, number 2, edit. Number 3, research. Okay, boom. There's your 3 habits. 20 minutes of research, 20 minutes of writing, 20 minutes of editing. You could write a book in a year fairly easily if you could just do those 3 things. The problem is we overcomplicate it. I need a publisher. I need an agent. I need a blah, 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 blah. Just start with the manuscript. 90% of the battle is writing the book. And I think you're good at making things simple because you get overwhelmed easily. Pardon my French.
Yeah, no, you're good.
But, pardon my French. I didn't mean
I
to
like
swear.
doing the same thing. I kind of like doing this. I think that's why fitness is... I'll just say specifically... Well, no. I would say fitness in general. I think one of the reasons fitness can be really hard is because it does require you to do kind of the same things over and over and over and over again, unless you like running and you like weight training and you like Pilates and you like yoga and you like all those different things. But it's super hard to get into a rhythm with that. Like Monday I weight train, and then Tuesday I do yoga, and then Wednesday I do Pilates, and Thursday I go for a run, and Friday I do yoga. It's like I can imagine that would be really, really challenging to get in flow with. One of the bodybuilders I follow, and I'll preface this with he's definitely on steroids for sure, and he also has very, very good genetics, and he's 21 years
Doesn't
old.
he say that? He tells
Yeah,
people
he's not
At least
like
he's honest about it.
he's not lying about stuff. But his name's Sam Sulik, and you want to talk about somebody blowing up on social media? He might be the biggest fitness person in the world right now. Just it's crazy. But he goes to the gym and he films all his workouts, and he seems like a really good dude. He's an engineer,
Nice.
which is very interesting because looking at him, and I don't know what an engineer looks like, but looking at him, I would think he's just a bodybuilding bro. And he seems like he's just a good dude. And I
You can
like
always tell
watching
an
him.
engineer by the systems. You can always tell an engineer by the numbers and the systems.
He does seem to have really good systems.
And he knows his numbers. He probably knows
his numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He knows how many reps, the weight, every single
Yeah.
time, number of workouts per week. He's got his numbers, calories, all of it.
He's a sicko. He's a sicko. He just does the same thing every single time he goes to the gym. So when it's chest day, he does these exercises.
But it's not the exact same thing because he ups the ante a little bit each time.
Yes.
And he does some different nuances, right?
So to the point, though, he's not overcomplicating things. He's making them as complicated as they need to be. The movement is the same.
For his videos? It's just like the iPhone?
Not anymore. No, he's on the come up. Yeah, he's on the come up.
But he started with just a phone.
Yeah. It was, his videos were literally the simplest thing ever of all time. There was no editing. He would put his camera on this sketchy tripod in his car on the way to the gym, and he would have these like gym talks. And then he eventually got like a mic that he put on his hat, and then eventually he got a camera, and then now he's like sponsored, and he's super big. But it's simple. He just does the same movements every single time. He changes the weight, he changes the reps, but he does the same movements every single time. And he'll literally, it's kind of a joke where he'll say, oh, it's chest day, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to do this, and then we're going to do this, and we're going to do this. He said, maybe something will change depending on how busy the gym is, but I pretty much do the same thing every time. What I think happens, to your point, is we can get stuck in this, what I'm doing doesn't seem to be working, so I think it's time for me to change what I'm doing, when in reality, the right amount of time just hasn't passed yet.
What do you say to someone who struggles with doing the same mundane things over and over?
I understand, and I empathize with it. Two things. I just want to make sure this isn't connecting to the episode that we have planned.
I think that's also why people overcomplexify, is they're just bored.
Well, it's hard. This is a hard one for me, Alan, because I think for some people, maybe doing it in a different way is what's best for you. Why are you smiling?
Sounds good, Kevin. I love when you do that, when you say Alan.
Well, I know it's kind of not the opposite of your belief, but we've built so much on tracking your habits and that stuff. And I think that's beneficial to everyone. I think everyone could find benefit in that. But I do understand for some people it might not seem super sustainable. But I was that way in the beginning too. So I worked through it, and now I love doing it. So I do think there is a light at the end of the tunnel. But try to sexy it up as much as you can. Honestly, there's the grit factor of, look, it's probably going to suck. And it's going to suck to do the same thing over and over again. But when you're doing the same thing over and over again and you're starting to see different results, it feels really good.
Mm-hmm. Progress feels real good. And maybe you can put your own unique spin on it. I don't know. I haven't had real success doing that. I mean, for me right now, I'm doing jiu-jitsu and I'm doing bodybuilding. Those are my two. So, like, for me, it's not the same thing every day. Obviously, the business is kind of the same thing every day, but I don't know. I don't know if I have a good answer to that. You have to believe it'll be worth it. If you don't believe it'll be worth it, you won't do it. Just a simple example. I know we got to jump. Imagine you exercise. I mean, this is a perfect... What Emilia and I are doing, we're so excited spring is coming. So, okay, we took Tucker for a walk yesterday, but we don't do the same walk every time. So we exercise every day. That's the consistent principle. Okay, just like... Okay, you want to be in shape? There's three things. Okay, nutrition, exercise, sleep. Let's just call it those three. We track our sleep every day. That you can't really change much. But exercise, we're not doing the same things every day. We're doing walking. Sometimes we do basketball. Sometimes we do soccer. Sometimes we go on a hike. Sometimes we do a walk around the track like we did last night. Sometimes we do a walk around the neighborhood. Sometimes when it's raining, we use the treadmill.
Well, even the sleep, like you said, there's a lot you can change about sleep. If you can try earplugs if you're not using earplugs. You can try an eye mask if you're not using an eye mask.
Yeah.
Temperature, different times go to bed at different times.
Different playlists at night. I don't know if you have a sleep playlist at night.
No, we have a sound machine. I like the sound machine.
Nice. That works. Same sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have an Alexa that we use.
I like Metallica. Metallica usually, Nelly, either one when I'm drifting off is good.
Yeah, usually gets you right. Go to bed. You can try reading before bed, but everything in life is an experiment, and there are certain fundamentals that when you do them, everything can be broken down into the simple principles. One example is reading books. If you read a personal development book for 20 minutes a day, that will change your whole life. Just that one thing. It's like, okay, you want to be more successful. Holistically successful. Health, wealth, life, and love. Okay, here's 3 things. Read daily for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever. Listen to NLU. Okay? And exercise once a day, even if it's just a walk. If you did just those 3 things,
yeah,
your whole life would transform over time compared to if you didn't. We overcomplicate everything. We really do. Journaling, one habit of journaling takes care of all your contemplation, all your self-reflection, all your inner work. Like, there's so much that can transform in your whole life from one simple thing that you do consistently. And here's the very, very, very last thing I'll say is if you can't be consistent, that's what you got to go to work on.
Yeah.
Because that's a meta habit. It's a habit about habits. So like journaling you may like, but if you can't journal daily, it won't really matter. If you're spotty with journaling, you're never going to really see the benefits, and then that's going to make you what? Even less likely to be consistent. It's almost like it's another one of those damn paradoxes.
I know.
The only way you'll ever be consistent is if you're consistent enough to see the payoff. But if you're not consistent, you'll never be consistent enough to see the payoff, which is going to lock in the consistency. So it's so paradoxical. So you got to start really, really, really small and start with one thing that's fundamental. And once you lock that in, then you can go to the next thing.
It is. It's hard to explain too. It's kind of like the pyramid. If you think of, I know you love pyramids. If you think of the bottom thing, it probably is like the least sexy, and it gets the least like when people go to the pyramids, they look at the top. They're not just looking at the bottom. Like you want to see the whole thing. You don't want to just see the bottom. Mm-hmm. You want to see how high it is. But it's usually those unsexy things that make the biggest difference. But I also understand that you need to build on those things.
What's the unsexiest thing that you do that makes the biggest difference? Where if we were to take this out, picture the last 7 years, and you were to take this one thing out, and it's the least sexy thing, but it would change everything.
Probably batch WhatsApp, I would say. It's not sexy at all. It's the whole thing. There's nothing sexy about batching WhatsApp messages, but every morning that's one of the first things I do. It's not sexy at all.
If you didn't do that, what would happen?
We would not have any clients, most likely. we wouldn't have clients. We wouldn't have a team. Nothing. None of this would be happening.
Yeah, and it would be impossible for us to have gotten to the level we've gotten to.
And even this is one of the things that looks super sexy, but it's not always sexy. Some days it sucks. Some days it's not. I don't want to do it. Some days I'd rather not do it. I'm not in the mood. I don't feel like it. I don't have stories. I don't feel super self-improvement. So the last thing I want to do is try to teach it. So that's another piece of it. What would your next level lesson be? Losing my voice for some reason.
The next level lesson would be try to break everything down into its simplest possible form and start there. Especially every time you're struggle bussing and you feel like you're burning down. Every time I post Next Level Live, for example, I had a huge emotional hangover. I got a little bit sick. I just felt like crap. I just went back to the fundamentals. I went back to the drawing board. And I go, okay, what are the things that really matter? Based on my new awareness, not the old Alan. Like, what really matters now? What are the things that make the biggest difference now? And I just broke them down into categories, and I wrote them down. And I did the same with you, Kev. And we rebuilt from a new foundation. And I think that that's what life is. You burn down, and then you rebuild from a new foundation. And then you burn down, and you rebuild from a new foundation. If you get injured in the gym, you now have to go back to basics and start doing PT. And then you rebuild. And eventually you go past where you ever were before by staying focused on the fundamentals. So I would just try to break everything complex into its simplest possible form and try to hit those minimums and then build from there. And that's it. Yeah. You? Kevin
Palmieri, Kevin Edward Palmieri. What would yours be? Probably you expand.
You ever see Sound of Music?
Have I ever seen Sound of Music? No.
Oh, damn.
Like from 1943 or something?
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Emilia showed it to me last night. This is Florine.
Like by showed it to you, you watched it? Or
Yeah.
showed... what did
Yeah,
you
we
think?
didn't watch the whole thing. We watched like the first third or something.
What did you think?
I know you wanted me to watch It's a Wonderful Life. I'm going to
Yeah.
watch that with Emilia at some point, but I didn't know if Taryn also showed you The Sound of Music. It's pretty good. It's interesting. It's a musical, so
I don't think
yeah,
that's
you might
her
not be into it,
kind.
but there's just a funny when you said Alan, I just thought of sounds good, Floodline. It's apparently
what did you think of the movie? The third that you saw?
so far so good, but she loves it. She saw it when she was a kid, and so she's lit up like a Christmas tree. So for me, that's been more enjoyable than anything. And there's some quotes from it that I'm using that I think are hilarious. So
Okay.
it's been good.
I'm not going to
Floodline.
watch it. I'm not going to watch it. I
For
won't
anyone
do it.
who has watched it, you'll know what I'm talking about.
I feel like most people probably have, right? It's a very
Yeah, I mean it's
famous, popular movie.
extremely, yeah.
A little old for my liking.
Beautiful nature in it, for sure.
I don't care about that.
Whatever, man.
If I want beautiful, I'll just look out the window. You know what I mean? I don't watch. You think I'm watching movies for nature, son?
I do, for sure. Lord of the Rings, come on, New Zealand.
Well, we were already talking about that. I won't do it.
We can't talk about it.
You know,
Hey, what's your next level nugget?
I had it, and then it expand and refocus. You've been saying that for a long time. I stole that from you. If you weren't here, I wouldn't give you probably any credit for it. But expand is awareness. Refocus is implement. Kind of
Nice.
similar, and then you can build on that.
Mhm.
But don't necessarily worry about. I don't want to say it like that because it could sound. If you're not doing all you can with all you know, the answer probably isn't in knowing more yet. It's probably in doing what you already know to the best of your ability. And sometimes doing what you know to the best of your ability creates a new awareness, which then creates a new opportunity to implement.
Do all you know until you plateau. Then seek more knowledge.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. How's that
Cool.
feel?
Pretty good. I think the
It
last
does.
part needs work.
Yeah, but again,
Do all
pretty-
you know until you plateau is fire.
Yeah.
Then what? Then you seek new awareness or hopefully something that rhymes.
Yeah, we'll have to think on that. That was good. You perked right up when you said it. You were very proud of that.
I was. I think that's
I wasn't gonna-
That's good. Yeah.
I
But once
agree.
you
I wasn't gonna
plateau, you have to,
retool.
you know what I mean? So and then you can be proactive so that if you learn in advance, you won't plateau. It's almost like
Don't overcomplicate the rhyme.
yeah.
Little Miss Tuffet. What was it? Little Miss Tuppet sat on a... What was it? Little Miss...
Little Miss Tuffet
Tuffet?
sat on a muffet. And then
what is a
fell.
muffet?
I don't know.
and then fell. I believe she was eating her curds in whey.
Dude, I don't know.
No. Okay. Next Level Nation, if you want to learn more nursery rhymes and just rhymes in general, sign up for Next Level Group Coaching. Round 14 starts on Tuesday the 16th. Is that correct? Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Tuesday the 16th, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will not be... Well, maybe there'll be some nursery rhymes behind the scenes. I doubt it. But we will talk a lot about this. One of the things we talk about is reverse engineering finish lines and understanding how inputs create outputs and all of that happy jazz. So if you've been interested and you haven't been able to get in, we'd love to have you. Again, with a discount code, you'll save 30% and it ends up being $96 a month, and you get 4 calls per month. 2 with me and Alan, and then 1 with the amazing Amy, our assistant coach. So it's very, very well worth it, and it is extremely affordable, and it is designed to be as affordable as possible.
If you're someone out there who will do more for the team than you will for yourself, group coaching was made for you. We will help you stay accountable. You are worthy of being in this group. We will help you all along the way, and it's all going to be fundamentals, keeping you on track towards your goals and dreams. It's nothing crazy. It's just the simple fundamentals and staying on track. And it's 10 times easier to stay on track when you're with a group of people.
Definitely. Tomorrow for episode number 1669, the problem with growth mindsets. Are we calling out growth mindsets? Maybe, maybe not. I guess we'll find out tomorrow. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we do not have fans, we have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Talk to you soon. Next Level Nation.